All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to our Monday night team call. Today we have a really super special guest, Carolyn, and she is just an incredible coach. She is a 2016 six-star diamond elite coach. I remember reaching out to her, I want to say over a year ago, when I was a diamond coach, just asking her for advice and wondering like how she was moving her business forward so incredibly fast and just, you know, having all of this success. So I'm truly honored to have her on our team call. So without further ado, Carolyn, we are super excited. So
to unmute myself first, that might work. All right, guys, nice to meet you all. My name is Carolyn, like Genevieve has already told you. I started coaching back in 2014, but I didn't really take it seriously until January 2015. So I was going to share a little bit of my story with you first, if that's okay, and then I'll talk to you guys about expanding your network and growing your tribe. So first, like I said, I started in 2014. I was in college and I was just ready to graduate, and I didn't really recognize the person that I was. I wasn't happy with myself at all. I had a lot of extra weight from drinking and eating pizza at 4 in the morning and lots of other things that we do when we were in college that we don't really think about until after the fact. And I just needed something to just feel better about myself. And I was going to school to be a teacher. I was like #1 in the School of Education in my college, and that was what I was supposed to do, I thought. But apparently not. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean that that's what you're supposed to do. So I ended up finding the 21-day fix through an ex-boyfriend's mom. So weird. And she was like, oh yeah, I did this program. It worked for me. You should try it. So I tried it. I fell in love with the program. I ended up canceling Shakeology afterwards because I was in college and didn't have the money to pay for it again. Although I did, but I just didn't think I had the money to pay for it. Like we all know how people say they don't. But then I found another friend of mine who was doing something. I saw her on Instagram. She was doing some kind of cleanse. And it was only 3 days. And I was like, wow, I should try that. And then I reached out to her and found out it was also Shakeology as well. So she actually offered me the opportunity to be a coach and get it cheaper. And I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. Like anything discount, yeah, I'll do it. So I was signed up as a discount coach 2014, right after Summit. I didn't really take it seriously. Like I said, I was in school to be a teacher. I was teaching at the time. I was in a kindergarten class, and I didn't really think that coaching was my thing. I just always thought that I was supposed to teach. So I was kind of faking it, like pushing it off, like, no, I'm not supposed to be doing this. It's just something on the side. And although I was not really like working the business, I was still able to hit Success Club. I've never missed a month of hitting Success Club since I started. And I think it was because I was just doing the basic things. I was still kind of posting on social media. I was still kind of talking to people here and there. I wasn't doing as much as I do now, but it just goes to show you that it really is just the basic behaviors that are going to build your business, when I wasn't really even trying to build a business, and it was just kind of happening because I was so excited about my results and I was sharing it on social media, and people were just interested in what I was doing. So of course I naturally told them, yeah, like, and you can get it cheaper if you do it the way I did. So I hit Emerald my first month and I had no idea what I was doing still. So if you think you need to know everything to do this, you totally do not. If there's any new coaches on here. But it wasn't until January of that, like next year, so 2015, I had already been a coach for about 6 months at this point. I was kind of not liking my job as much as I thought I would, and I was dabbling in the idea of maybe working this business. So I went to Super Saturday by myself. I got lost like 5 times on the way there because there were so many circles wherever I was in South Jersey. I had no idea. I finally made it there, and it was that event that changed everything for me. It changed my mindset about this business. I saw people who were like crushing their goals, and I'm sitting there like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? So I went there as an Emerald coach. I had 0 Success Club points. My mom was one of my coaches, I'm pretty sure. And at the end of that month, I ended up with Success Club 24, just from going to a live event and believing in myself and saying like, listen, I can do this. So the end of that year, our team ended 3-star premier in 1 year. So if you're a brand new coach and you're not even an Emerald, or maybe you're an Emerald coach and you see all these elite coaches and premier coaches and you think that's so far away, it's really not as far away as it seems. If you work hard every single month, if you make that decision to treat this like a business and not like a hobby that pays well, then you can be elite, you can be premier in as short of a time as you want to. So I also went to a trip in April of that year. My coach had asked me like 3 weeks before the trip, would you want to go to Cancun with me? And I was like, duh, of course I would. So I took all of my personal days from my teaching job off and 1 sick day because I didn't have enough personal days, but I was not missing this trip. I bought a passport that day because I didn't have one. I bought my plane ticket that day. So this was my first time flying out of the country, my first time flying alone in general, my first time meeting my coach in person because she was just some girl from Ohio on Instagram to me, and being in Cancun around all of these successful coaches and hearing their stories, being in the pool, talking to people who've been coaching for 6 years, who are like in their 40s telling me, oh my God, you're only 22 years old. This is amazing that you have that mindset. I wish I had my shit together when I was your age. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm leaving my job. So I ended up leaving my job 10 months into, like, from the date that I started, actually. I hit Diamond in March of that year, 1 star by Summit, and then by the end of the year, we were 3-star Premier. So it does definitely take work, and I'm going to show you basically everything that I do today is the same thing that I've always done. I don't really have to do anything extra, and there have been times where I've caught myself doing things that aren't actually productive, like playing on Canva and making cool pictures and things like that. But I don't do any of that stuff until I have the basic stuff done. So I'm going to talk to you today about how to expand your network, how to make the most of every conversation that you have, and make sure that you are doing the things that are going to move your business forward and not wasting time doing other things. But it's kind of funny because my slides are made on Canva. So let me share my screen with you so you can see them. Let me make it a little bigger. I can't make it full screen because then I can't see any of you, and then I feel like I'm talking to myself, and it's just really weird. So this is gonna have to do. Okay, so we're talking about how to never miss an opportunity to help someone. And the biggest thing is you want to be that person in other people's lives who you need in your life, or who you needed in your life when you were looking for a change, or you were maybe looking to get healthy or lose weight, or maybe you were looking to do something that you wouldn't have to work your 9 to 5 anymore. Everyone comes to you for different reasons. Some people come to me because they want to lose 20 pounds. Some people come to me because they want to quit their job. And it really just depends on what you're putting out there on social media. If you're not talking about certain things, then people aren't going to come to you about them. You have to put out there what you want people to come to you and talk to you about. So my conversation tips, I'm going to start with those. When you're talking to people in a conversation on Facebook, most likely you guys just talk on Facebook, and you want to be the expert. You don't want to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't want to sound like you have no idea about the programs. Even if you haven't done the program, I really suggest trying them. Try like one workout from every program. Go on your on-demand. We have this capability now to like just sit down and watch one of them. If you really don't want to do it, just go through it and look at the meal plan, look at all of the stuff, and get a really good knowledge base of what you're talking about. Also with Shakeology, make sure you know about it. Make sure when people ask you questions about it, you're able to answer them. And if you're not and you're brand new, that's okay, but those resources are out there for you to find the answers and for you to help your people, because you don't want them to go and start Googling stuff on their own, because you never know what the heck they're going to come across. So I never give them that time to just go Google things on their own. I make sure that I find something that I can share with them that is reputable, because there's so much garbage out on Google and online now that it's hard for people to kind of weed through it themselves. You also want to be more interested than interesting. You want to be interested in them. You want to ask them questions. You don't want to try to be like, me, let me talk about me. You want to let them lead the conversation. Let them talk about themselves. People like to talk about themselves, so let them do that. You want to use confident language, and I have that word confident bolded because I actually say that word when I speak to people a lot. If I'm talking to them, and I'm not going to say something like, well, you might reach your goals, or this might work for you. It may help you lose 10 pounds. The ladies in my group they're doing okay with it. They're doing well. Like, you want to really talk it up and make people see that what you have is going to get them results. So oftentimes I'll say things like, I'm confident that you're going to get results, or I have no doubt that you're going to get results, and we're going to work on yourself from the inside out. Like, things that you say to people, you want them to feel like they're going to be taken care of, they're going to have support. You also want to relate to their struggles. If they tell you that they have trouble with meal planning and meal prepping because they're on the go all the time, share with them how you make it work. If they say that they have kids, maybe you don't have kids, but maybe somebody on your team does, and you can share their story with them and share how they make it work. I already said asking a lot of questions too. You want to be yourself and treat them like a friend, and think about how you would talk to your friend. So if you would send your friend a funny meme, or like one of those GIF things, I don't know what they're called, GIF images with like little weird people and stuff that move around. Anything that would make them feel like you're best friends with them. So whether you want to be friends with them on Snapchat and send them snaps here and there, and just literally treat them like you would treat a friend. Don't treat them like someone that you're just in a sales pitch with. You really want them to feel like they're your friend. So oftentimes I like to, sometimes I'll quote movies or whatever if I'm talking to them and something comes up and it just kind of feels right. But when those things happen, then you know you're doing the right thing. You know you're doing a good job with the conversation when you can kind of joke and laugh in between and kind of take it off course on purpose, and then bring it back like, oh crap, I'm sorry, I totally forgot we were talking about this group that I'm running. And then it doesn't feel like you're just wanting to talk about this. You want to just have a natural conversation with people. You also want to find ways to integrate fitness and nutrition into your conversation. It's not always the easiest thing. You're having a conversation and you're like, oh, so do you work out? Like, that doesn't always come off naturally. So an example that I can share with you, babe, can you take care of this? Sorry, the dog is like destroying his bed. Some examples are, I was talking to this girl about her house, and she was getting a new house, and she was talking about what she wanted in her house, like how she wanted her kitchen to look. And we were just talking about houses because we're looking to buy a house soon too. And all I had said to her, I related to what she said about what she was looking for in a house. And then I said, well, something that we're really looking forward to have in our house is to have space to put a gym in our house. And she started to respond back like, oh my God, I used to live in an apartment and I had a gym all the time that I could use every single day. And now that I don't have that anymore, I've fallen off track completely, and I just don't know what to do. And I don't know how to get back on the wagon with it. It's just like the gym's too far away. And like literally just opened her heart out to me just because all I said was, we want a gym in our house. So there's little ways that you can kind of get that in there. Maybe you see something on their social media that they did, that maybe they did a marathon, or maybe they went to, I don't know, something active that they're doing. Maybe they went hiking. Any way that you can kind of get that in there about, do you hike often? Like that'll kind of lead to talking about fitness. Don't be afraid to invite people. That's why you are here. The quicker you realize that, the less afraid you're going to be to ask people. If your coach didn't ask you if you have ever considered being a coach, you wouldn't be a coach right now, and your life would be completely different. So that's something to remember when you're talking to people. If you don't invite them, they may never get to experience this. And then also have your daily messages and the stuff that you repeat day in and day out over and over and over again written down already, typed out in a notes section of your phone, in an Evernote. I personally like to use Evernote because it's more organized. I can literally have one note for each thing. Like if somebody asks me, what is Shakeology? I have a response. If somebody asks me, what do you do? I have a response, because it's annoying to repeat yourself over and over again. If somebody says, so what is this group about? I have a written response that I just copy and paste. Birthday messages, I have a written response, I copy and paste. Anything that I'm doing basically during my power hour, follow-ups, invites, it's already written out, so I don't have to think. I just have to copy, paste, personalize it a little bit depending on who I'm talking to, and then send it out. So if you do that, your life will be 1,000 times easier. This is the all access script that I didn't create, but it just was basically what I told a girl in a conversation, and it worked really well. So I've been copying and pasting it over and over again to everyone, and it's been working. So that's something that you want to keep in mind when you're talking to people. If you are talking to someone and you have a really great conversation and it leads to them signing up as a coach or a customer, then that means whatever you said worked. And that means that you can reuse it and copy and paste it and use it again the next time you talk to somebody else. So this is what I had said to her. I can send this to you after so you don't have to like frantically write it down. But it's basically from now on, I'm only talking about the all access. I'm starting with that. And then if that doesn't fit their budget, which I asked them, does this fit your budget? If not, let me know and I can work with you. It gives them the option to decide pick their route. Are they going to go with all access? If not, that's okay. There's other options for them, but at least they're making the choice, not me. I'm not telling them this is what you should get. This is the challenge pack that you're going to get that has your program. Like, I'm giving them the best, and not that it's not the best, but the second option, and they're allowed to choose. And 9 times out of 10, they go with the bigger one because they see the value in it compared to what they're going to be paying for the one that doesn't have as much. And they normally go for the all access. And if not, they go for the regular challenge pack, and then they've upgraded to all access like 2 weeks later because they realized that it was better. So that's just something that I'm teaching my team to do. Start with the all access, work your way down. You can work your way down all the way to the free trial and 7-day sampler pack. As long as you get them involved and you get them doing something, get them in your challenge group. I still add them if they do the free trial and the 7-day sampler pack, because nobody else knows that they didn't purchase anything. Like, they didn't purchase the same thing. They still have Shakeology. They still have abilities to work out. And after that, after they run out of shakes, they're going to be asking how to get more anyway. So it's not a bad idea to do that if you really have someone who doesn't have the money, or a lot of times when they say they don't have the money, they're not completely convinced that they can do it. But once you give them that little taste of it and they see that they can stick to it, then they are willing to invest in themselves. So it's definitely something that I've been doing. I've been teaching my team to do that as well. Okay, so when you're talking to people, I'm going to break this down into a couple different categories. The first one is new friends. I used to message new friends when they would accept my request and say something like, hey, thanks for the ad. I see that you have a dog. So do I. Like, what's your dog's name? Something like that. But that doesn't really come across as very personal. It kind of just seems like I'm really just trying to talk to them for a specific reason because I just added them and now I'm talking to them. It just kind of felt icky to me. So what I've been doing instead is I have been adding myself to Facebook groups that I have an interest in, like something that pertains to my life. I wouldn't add myself to a group of hikers in California because I don't hike. I live in Florida. That wouldn't make sense for me to add myself to a group like that. I wouldn't add myself to a group of, like, I don't know, people who ride horses because I don't ride horses. But I can add myself to a group of, like, a wedding group because I'm planning a wedding right now, or a dog group, like the kind of dog that I have, not just dogs in general, because it gives me something to speak about with these people other than, like, fitness stuff right away. So I go into the group, I go through the, like, people in the group. I don't really post in the group ever. I just go to the people who are part of the group and I send them a message, and I send them the same exact message basically. And it says like, hi, name, I hope you don't mind me reaching out. I'm new to the blank group, so whatever group you're in. I figured we might have something in common. I just got engaged to my fiance in March. We moved to Florida in May. So I'm kind of telling a little bit about myself. We're still undecided on a venue, so this is old, this one. This wedding planning thing is no joke. Haha, I'm looking to fill my life up with other like-minded and excited brides-to-be who have gone through the planning process already. So I'm telling her like why I'm reaching out to her, and maybe get some advice and throw a few ideas around. And then I'm congratulating her. So congratulations, by the way, when did you get engaged? Or are you married already? Hope this isn't weird. So it has nothing to do with fitness. It has nothing to do with Beachbody. It has everything to do with just reaching out about a wedding. And this is like good content to start the conversation off of, because I told her a little bit about myself. I told her why I was reaching out. I asked her when she got engaged or if she's already married, and we can talk about that. Like those are things that are going on right now for me, so I can speak about those things, and it's not weird. It's not like forced conversation. I'm just genuinely interested in learning a bit about wedding planning because it is not easy. So I've been getting a lot of like help and advice from these people too. So it's benefiting me in more than one way. And it's a genuine conversation. So if you are, maybe you have a specific job, or maybe you have a hobby, or maybe whatever, I don't know, maybe you suffer from anxiety, there's a ton of groups on Facebook that you can join and meet people who are going through the same kind of things that you're going through that you can connect with. So I send them that message, and then after I send the message, I hit add friend. As soon as I send that message. Sometimes they see the message and they respond and they don't see their friend request. So I'll be like, oh, and after we're talking for a bit, I'll say, oh, I sent you a friend request, by the way. I'm not sure if you saw it. Sometimes they'll accept and we'll see the message and they just won't say anything. It's really weird. I don't know why somebody would do that, but then I'll just kind of reach out to them at another time about something else and see what I can get from that. And then also my new friends, like the ones who add me, because I do also send out requests. These are my group ads, and then I do add like a few other friends. I don't message them. I wait until their birthday to message them. So I'll send them a message on their birthday, and I'll say, hey, happy birthday. I just want to take time out of my day to wish you a happy birthday. What are you doing today to celebrate? So I can start a conversation that way. And then I have an Excel sheet that has all of their names. And when they respond, I just highlight it so I know that they responded to my message. Okay, so I kind of talked a little bit about birthdays, but I basically just I only say happy birthday messages to non-coach female friends. Any of the friends who are coaches, I'll comment on their wall. I'll say happy birthday. I don't just not say happy birthday to them because they're a coach. It takes 2 seconds. I can say happy birthday. But anyone who is like, it's a good way to kind of like clean out your friends list. So if you see people and you're like, I don't know who that is, or I would probably never talk to that person and they're not really my tribe, or maybe they're like dudes from college that added you because they thought you were cute. Now is that time to delete those people so you can make room for new friends who you're going to be attracting to you, because you can only have like 5,000, I think. Yeah, so I keep them in Excel. I highlight them when they respond. And then after happy birthdays, I just make sure I check in with them a few times throughout the month to message them about other things, emotional deposits. Maybe I saw a recipe that maybe they would like, I could send it to them. Maybe they have a certain type of dog and I saw a funny dog video that reminded me of their dog. I could send it to them. Like I said, things that you would do for a friend, that's what you're doing. So then you'll be able to invite them because you're just kind of building that relationship over the next 2 months, and you'll be able to invite them. Also, you are going to get them like wondering what you're doing. So I'll reach out to a lot of people on their birthdays, and they're always like, oh, thanks, I love to see your posts all the time. I see you're working out, or I wish that I could do what you do. Could you tell me more? Just because I said happy birthday to them. And it doesn't feel weird because it's just saying happy birthday to them. And it really sparks that conversation because they probably have been watching me for a while and were just waiting for that time to reach out to me. But since I reached out to them, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, I meant to ask you about those groups that you do. That's just another way to connect with people. Your challengers, this is not like once you get somebody to sign up and be a part of your group, the work doesn't stop there. I think a lot of times people are like, sweet, I have a challenger. Awesome. I got 2 Success Club points. Let's see how many more I can get. And that's not how it's supposed to work. I would rather have Success Club 10 and have 5 awesome challengers getting amazing results than have Success Club 100 and not really know anything about any of those people who are in my group, because it's about quality, not quantity. So when you have people in your challenge group, you really want to love on them. You want to make sure that you're treating them and providing them with everything you told them you were going to give them. If you told them you were going to help them with meal plans, you better help them with their meal plans or provide them with sample meal plans and do all the things that you said you were going to do. You want to check in with them weekly in a direct message and then daily in the Challenge Tracker app if you use the app. If not, if you use Facebook, I recommend using the app. I've used the app since it came out last year in February, and I haven't done a group on Facebook since. I don't know what you guys use, but it's really changed the game for challenge groups, for me at least. I hated challenge groups, and now it's just something that is so much easier, and it's so much more fun doing it in the app. And then you also want to participate in your challenge groups as if you were a challenger. So if you want your people to post a sweaty selfie, then you need to post a sweaty selfie. If you want them to comment with their favorite Shakeology recipe, then you need to comment with yours too. Nobody is going to do anything if you're not doing it. And if people aren't doing it and you're doing it at least, then they're going to start doing it. So even if you may be the only one commenting in your group, like if you're a brand new coach and you're just getting started, you may be the only one commenting and participating in your challenge group. But that's okay, because your challengers are going to catch on and they're going to start following your lead. And then you'll know when you're doing your job when you get messages like these. I had to put this one on here. This girl is actually now a coach. So was the message before this. She's also a coach now as well. And these are messages that really remind you why you're a coach. We're not here to make a quick buck. We're not here to make a bunch of money and just not care about people. And when people send you messages that reinforce that and remind you why you're here, then it really makes everything worth it. So just anytime you get those messages too, it's nice to hold on to them and keep them somewhere for the days where you feel like crap, like where I'm not helping anyone, I can't hit Success Club. Just read those messages again. It'll remind you of why you're here, and you'll get your mindset back on track. And then actually this girl is now a coach as well. So you're also going to be getting personal reach outs only if you know your avatar. Only if you put out there what you want to attract to you. Only if you're making posts that are adding value and providing people with like a resource to reach out to you, a reason to reach out to you. So this person had reached out to me because she hates her job. I really love when people reach out to me for hating their job, because I know what that feels like. And I want to help people quit their jobs. That's like one of my biggest things. I have one coach who already has left her job. I have one coach who put in her resignation for this year. She's leaving her job. I have another one who's going part-time this fall. So that's just something I'm super passionate about. I don't think anybody should have to work a 9 to 5 if it doesn't light them up inside. I'm not saying that it's bad to work a 9 to 5, but if you're miserable, then you shouldn't be there. So when people reach out to me because they want to do that, it makes me really excited. And I honestly think that it's because of what I'm putting out on social media. And the reason I think that is because every time somebody reaches out to me, they comment on something that I had posts, or they'll say, I see you all the time talking about how you quit your job or how you did this, or I see you talk about your team all the time. How can I learn more about it? How can I get involved? So if you're putting out the right content, people are going to have something to reach out to you about. And the better that you know your avatar, which I don't know if you guys have done an avatar training before, but it really helps you narrow in on that exact person that you're trying to attract to your business. And you can get as specific as you want. I have all of my coaches make an avatar, and they find a photo, and they have like how old they are, what they like to do, where do they work, what are their guilty pleasures, like what's their favorite food, like things that you wouldn't like think are important. But the more that you have that image of that person who is your avatar, then the easier it is for you to make posts and talk to that specific person so that you can attract them to you. Your social media presence is important too. You need to have a schedule, or at least know how many times you're posting each day. When I worked a full-time job, I would do my posts before I went to bed because I knew that I didn't have time to write them during the day. Then when I went full-time, I would just kind of do it throughout my day. But this past month, I've been getting back into that habit of writing out my posts before I go to bed. And I've been having so much like better content, I guess, because I'm not just like thinking of it on the fly. Some of them are on the fly, and I think that some of them should be, because that really makes it genuine. It's not like pre-planned out kind of stuff. But if it's going to make your life a lot easier, and it definitely makes mine easier and gives me more time to actually like work on my business instead of thinking about what to post, then having a schedule and planning ahead is super important. Also being there every day, showing up every single day, even if you don't want to, if you feel like crap, you need to show up every day, because like if I don't post on social media, people probably think that I died or something, because I post every single day and multiple times a day. So if you don't see a post from me like for 8 hours, somebody should like call my mom or something, because something is not right. You also have to think like there's people who are watching you who may not have the balls to reach out to you yet, and they may not feel comfortable speaking to you about their goals yet, but they're watching you, and they're not going to like anything. They're not going to comment on anything. They're just going to be those flies on the wall that you don't know are there, but they're definitely there, because I've had people tell me they followed me for 2 years before they decided to talk to me, because I guess I'm going to bite their head off or something. But if you think about it, if you really are a huge Starbucks fan, I'm going to use coffee as an example, and you really love Starbucks, and you go to Starbucks every single morning before you go to work, and you go to work and Starbucks is closed and you're really pissed, and then you go to work and you have no coffee and you're like not the same person all day. Then you go to work the next day and Starbucks is closed again, and you're pissed again because you're not going to have your coffee again, and you're not the same person without your coffee. But you go to work anyway without your coffee because you love Starbucks, and you're not going to go for any other coffee besides that one. So then by day 3, you're going to go there and it's going to be closed. But at that point, you're like, okay, I need my coffee. Like, seriously, this is ridiculous. So then you're going to go to Dunkin' Donuts. That may be a little bit more out of the way, but you need your coffee that bad that you're just going to go there anyway. The next day, you're not even going to stop at Starbucks because you don't want to waste time knowing that they're going to be closed and then having to go to Dunkin' Donuts anyway. So you're just going to go to Dunkin', and you're going to continue to go there. And then you may realize how much you really love Dunkin', and you're never going to go to Starbucks ever again because you have fallen in love with Dunkin' instead, because that's what's been there for you, and Starbucks was like kind of letting you down. It's the same thing with your social media. That might be the one day that person's ready to reach out to you, and they go to your page and they don't see you there. They see you're not showing up. They might think, oh, well, maybe they're not doing it anymore, or maybe they quit, or maybe, if they can't hold themselves accountable, how can they hold me accountable? And if they don't see you showing up, they're going to think, okay, well, I do know somebody else who's kind of posting the similar things on their social media. I'll go reach out to them and see if they can help me. There's a lot of coaches in the network, and the only thing that sets you apart from every other coach is you. And if you don't show up that one day, it could make all the difference between a rock star joining your team or joining somebody else's. So it's really important to show up every day. Don't be like Starbucks and just close down. Be like Dunkin' Donuts and stay open 24 hours every single day, so that people will be able to come to you when they're ready to, because you never know when that's going to be. I don't know, after that tangent. You also want to talk about your story once a week. You don't want to talk about it on the same days every week. You don't want to share your whole story in one post every week. you want to think of bits and pieces of your story that you can share every time you talk about your story. You could talk about a different part of it. So something that helps me, and I have my coaches do this as well, they write down story starters for their story. So basically mine would look something like Franzia, bullying, verbal abuse, mental abuse, things like that, things that I've gone through in my past, poor body image, I don't know, lots of shit. And you're going to write these all down so that you can look at that list and you can pick one of those things. And just looking at that list, I could think of a time in college when when I was being verbally and emotionally abused by my roommates. And I remember that time that I was in the kitchen and they were chucking plastic containers at me and calling me names. And it sounds like really ridiculous, but I remember those times because just by seeing that word, I remember what I went through. And sharing those kinds of things on social media are super important. They are super scary to talk about. I mean, at this point in my journey, I've pretty much shared all of that kind of stuff. There are a few things I haven't yet that I'm still kind of like waiting to share, but there are a lot of things that I've shared that I never thought in a million years I would ever talk to anybody about. And some of the things, like my mom was like, she'll message me sometimes and say, "Oh my God, I didn't know that. I feel so bad." Like, it's okay, Mom, it's fine. But you want to share your story multiple times throughout the month. And you also want to kind of breadcrumb it so that it's not, "Oh my God, this girl has so many problems," all in one post. But, "Oh, I can relate to that." Share the feelings you were feeling. People relate to feelings. People make decisions based on emotions. You don't want to just talk about specific like incidents, but also what you were feeling during that time. Because I don't know many people that can say that they were in the kitchen getting plastic containers chucked at them. But I know that they know what it feels like to feel like left out or to feel ashamed or embarrassed or just like a failure and like different feelings. I'm sure some of the ones I have named, you've felt that before in your life. So the more you focus on the feelings, the more people will relate to what you're actually talking about. And then
Carolyn, sorry, I hate to interrupt, but our Zoom is going to cut out in probably like 1 or 2 minutes because we have it only goes for 40 minutes.
The free one. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Well, I'll go back to the homework. I'll send you the slides so you can see like the story examples and stuff. But I have homework for you guys. So first thing is I want you to write out all the messages that you say all the time and have them saved somewhere. If you do it, it's just going to help you. So do it. And then I want you to pick one day a week that you will share your story, and not like the fluffy version of your story, but the real nitty-gritty raw version of your story. If you want to maybe send it to your coach and have her read it, or or post it in your team page first, and that'll kind of get you over that fear of sharing it. And once you post it in your team page, your team's just going to support you on it, and you're going to have that courage to share it publicly on Facebook. But I'll take some questions if we're gonna have time, I guess, because I'll send you like these 2 slides if you want.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions?